Hello friends, it's Chromatic Sauce and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing my color for Danny Phantom Part 2. Okay, I'll take my Powerpuff Girl glasses, use it as a headband because I didn't change my shirt after this video. Anyway, let's hop right into letting it play because I've already talked about the color for a little while, so I'm sure I'll ramble about something and then have a lot of footage left over. So let's just get the video started. This is basically right where I left off from the last video. Oh man, we're going right into it, but let me just talk about it. So if you saw the last video, the last color I did was the slightly darker teal that I'm using in his like flame or like whatever that stuff's called. And then I'm hopping in with this yellow. Usually yellow is a little bit more of a lighter color, but I find that yellow can sort of like not necessarily stain the tattoo permanently, but in terms of a photo, sometimes yellow can leave a little bit of a cast over other colors. So I didn't want this really warm, saturated yellow to sort of stain my like teals or my light greens, so that it kind of makes everything tonal. A yellow tonal, which kind of looks nice, but not really. So it doesn't stain forever, but it can sort of like leave a cast over the tattoo, like yellow can do that for me. So usually I've been trying to end it with like obviously white or like lighter blues. I don't know. Usually, I don't know, I'm just yapping really. So I'm doing my outline of, or like my glow outline of this yellow now before I go in with the rest of my lightest colors to finish it off. Because even still, like, I think the other colors that are left, they all might be sort of like an equal value. I don't know. Put it in black and white and figure it out for me. But yeah, the light green that I'm doing on the ghosts, I think is either the same or a little bit lighter. It's just more of a green tone instead of an orange tone. But they still basically look yellow. And then like in the hand, that's going to be pretty light too, but more of a blue color. But so I like to do this type of warm color first over those colors, just for the stain kind of thing. So the only thing that I outlined in this yellow color, I think it was just Danny Phantom, because I wanted him to pop out. I knew he was going to get a lighter tealish glow. I better be right about this because I don't remember. Let me scroll through. Okay, just double check. I knew he was going to get a lighter teal glow, so I knew this like warmer yellow would help it pop. Now, in the background, the yellow doesn't have anything to help it from blurring, so it's not necessarily going to stay looking like a sticker forever, but that warm yellow tone is going to stay in the skin. You know, the negative space around the ghost is obviously going to stay. So it doesn't need to be like a hard edge sticker line for the yellow, but that yellow right next to the teal that's like highlighting the back of his head whenever we get to that, it's going to set it off. So I wanted there to be a difference. I didn't want the lines of the ghost going right up to him, and I wasn't going to just leave it naked. So I always like giving things like a glow like this. I don't know. I love a stickery like outline and outline and outline. I don't know why. It's just maybe that's sort of what my style is. So yeah. So the next color I did was this like lighter gray. It's lighter than the gray that I did in the previous video, but I don't know. It doesn't have much saturation. I don't know. It's not really like very colorful, you know. Like I said, all these remaining colors aren't much different than the other. So I just figured I'd finish him out. Finish most of his coloring out first, do all the gray to like, I don't know if I left it for like a highlight on him, but I went with this like lighter gray tone to just fill out the gray tones. I said this like 3 times already. And then I use a bigger mag to like fill in these bigger sections. The portal at the bottom doesn't necessarily need like a white highlight or anything, so I believe I just filled in the whole thing with this gray. It's really supposed to be in the background. I also think in my original design I had this outlined with that that more orangey yellow too, the portal. But first, I forgot. I forgot it. And then by the time we were done, first of all, those outlines, the double outline, it kind of hurts because it's kind of like a really, it's a more concentrated like stabbing thing instead of spread out with a mag. I do it with a round shader, so I feel like it can be a little bit rougher, and it's the end of the tattoo usually when I do those lighter outline things, so it was a little bit rough for her. So stepping back, once I remembered that I was going to add that yellow tone, I was like, I don't think it even really needs it, because while the portal has some similar coloring to Danny Phantom, and like the ghosts are ghosts, Danny Phantom, I guess he's a ghost here, but he's like the subject, so he gets a black outline. The portal's also like a real thing, so that gets a black outline. But I was like, the portal's not really the subject. The portal doesn't need a glow to help it like highlight and stand out over the other things. It really should be a little bit more background, even though it's like tangible and like whatever. So I felt like only outlining Danny Phantom with the yellow color would actually help him stand out more, because he'd be the only thing outlined in that color, and there's nothing else that's that color. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then, let's see, what else did I do? Then I started working on the ghosts. First of all, I filled in the portal with the same color as the lightest color of the ghosts, which is Roadrunner by Eternal Ink. It's a really bright, it's almost just like a neon yellow. Like, it's almost not green at all. I have this other color from Solid Ink that's called Lime. They're almost the same color. Roadrunner is a little bit brighter, a little bit more yellow, but even Lime sometimes I think just looks yellow, like compared to like a more saturated green, which I don't think is bad. I think that's good because it's the contrast, like yellow and green, like yellow's brighter. So it's nice that we have a green tone that's super bright. It's almost like a tennis ball yellow. Do you call tennis balls yellow or green? Comment down below. I saw a TikTok where someone was asking that, and I guess the answer is yes. But so it's almost like a tennis ball green, like it's very vibrant. I think, I mean, like, I can't even take credit for like the color scheme of the ghost necessarily, because it's sort of very similar to how the original cartoon is, where it's like the ghosts have like a darker green outline. I think most of them have outlines like that, and then the inside is more of like a glowy neon green. So I just so happen to have access to these really nice, bright, like yellowy green colors. So I think I just filled in the whole rest of the ghosts. The ghosts don't need a skin breaks. I feel like some color tattoos can benefit from skin breaks, but especially like cartoony stuff don't necessarily need it. I don't know. I did the Hulk tattoo and I left a little skin break for a highlight, because skin's always going to be like more luminous than any color. Like even tattooing white in the skin, it has like a heavy quality, but I mean, especially if you're really pale, that's like, you glow even without tattoos to add contrast. But shoot, what was I saying? I think no matter what your skin tone, usually the skin is the lightest anything's gonna be, because your skin is your skin. Like whether you're a little darker than me or not, or whatever the case is, the skin is the lightest you can go. The skin is your base color. Like, you can't make it lighter, really. Not much. I mean, I always like to say that like white will heal a shade lighter than your skin, because that's what I found on myself, but it's not always the same for everyone. But yeah, but the client that got the Hulk tattoo that I left the skin break, he's like, oh, some of the color fell out, because it's on the back of his leg, so he couldn't see it all the way. But I'm just like, oh, that's a highlight. And I'm like, maybe when we go back into it, maybe I'll fill it in if it looks unfinished. But so I feel like, especially for cartoony tattoos, most of the time it looks better with just a solid fill of color. It depends how dimensional it is. I feel like something like this, it wouldn't benefit from, I mean, any tattoo could benefit from some skin break, but in terms of how small the details are, like, everything has a color, it's more cartoony. Like, I'd rather that skin break be a bright yellow neon green than like just skin. And it just makes more sense. And then also to add, like, when there's line work anywhere, like if I wanted around the face of the ghost to be lighter and brighter, having no pigment butted up right to, you know, those green lines or like the eye lines, when the tattoo goes to blur over time, it will blur more. Now, this is like what I've observed. And, well, technically, my mentor did tell me that, like, for instance, if you're drawing an eye or tattooing an eye and then there's a white highlight in there, you don't want to just leave it open as a skin break because there's so much darkness there that it's just going to close up. So he said adding white in places like that, the white sort of creates a dam. I might be like paraphrasing exactly what he said and like interpreting what I understand from what he said. So don't quote him on that. But the white sort of creates a dam that, like, as the ink blurs over time, there's white there. So the black's not gonna fill in that area if there's pigments there. And I found that in some of my own tattoos that I've gotten by other people that, like, man, like, this should be pure black, but there's still a little white dot because she put white ink there. So I try to, especially if it's a tight area, we're putting ink there. But even things like the ghost's face, if there's no pigment there on the edge of like the lines of his teeth, I don't know why I'm doing my jaw, or like the eyes, if there's no pigment there, then when that black line I have around the bottom of the eyes starts blurring, it's just gonna look like a blurred line in the skin, because, you know, all the tattoos blur, every tattoo blurs over time. But if I bring any tattoo ink, that neon yellow pigment or whatever, if I saturate that straight up to the edge of that eye line, then as the tattoo blurs over time, I've noticed in some tattoos that I've looked at that will help prevent the line from blurring as much or as quickly, and then there being pigment right up against the line on both sides, it sort of helps retain the structure. So as much as like a lighter highlight in the middle can help it look more glowy and a little bit more luminous, and it might seem good to have that skin break and the breathability of like there's a little bit of a break from the heavy saturation and color, I still think that it's better to have it fully filled in, and then it'll retain its look a little bit longer. I don't know if I explained that very well. Let me know if you have any questions about that. I know I've said the thing about the white ink creating a dam in the skin. I think my mentor describes it more of like it creates a scar tissue, so then like the pigment doesn't necessarily go past the scar tissue. But it's like not like scar tissue like scarring, but like any tattoo is an injury that healed and there must be some sort of scar tissue, right? But so like adding the white there sort of creates a little dam, you know? Like the tips of these little plasma fire things, whatever. So yeah, I just kind of go through and like add the rest of the light tones. Something like this, a full cartoon, like I said, and it's pretty small. Like it's a pretty big tattoo itself, but like his face isn't that big. Like it's not like the ghosts are going across her entire thigh or like her whole leg and it's really big and it's like, okay, well, this outline doesn't necessarily need to be filled in. But because these are so small, like I don't think the face is bigger than a couple inches big. For something that small, I want to fill it solid. So I just go around, I outlined the ghost with that teal that I used to give Danny Phantom that little blue highlight on the edge. That way it's all tied together. The ghosts are glowing a little bit and they match his color scheme, but he still has his own differences, so he's standing out in the foreground. And I was pretty happy. I mean, we're done now. I was pretty happy with how this turned out. It's like one of my favorite, man, it's cut off in the video. It's one of my favorite tattoos I've done recently. I would love to do more cartoon tattoos. I just really struggle coming up with ideas, and then I feel defeated, so I never really make flash for it. So if you have any ideas, definitely come get a tattoo by me. I would love to see you. I would love to see any of my YouTube subscribers, as long as you're not being creepy or rude or whatever. Anyway, comment down below. Let me know what you think of this video. Let me know what you think of this tattoo. I would love to hear your feedback. If you're a tattoo artist and you have any tips or tricks or any input about the thing I was talking about with the ink and the creating a dam, let me know. I'd love to hear more people's thoughts on that. Like I said, I'm so glad I got to do this tattoo. Whatever. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I love you. See you in the next one. Bye.